Good morning. In newly released documents related to the Jeffrey Epstein case, Elon Musk and Prince Andrew are mentioned. The package of documents, made public by Democrats in the U.S. Congress, concerns the now-deceased financier Jeffrey Epstein, who was convicted of crimes. According to the documents handed over to the House Oversight Committee by Epstein's heirs, Musk was invited to Epstein's Island in December 2014. Prince Andrew is mentioned in a passenger list for a flight from New Jersey to Florida in May 2000. The BBC has reached out to Musk and Prince Andrew for comment. Prince Andrew has previously categorically denied any wrongdoing. Musk has said that Epstein invited him to the island, but he declined the invitation. The documents mentioning Musk and Prince Andrew are part of the third section of an archive provided by Epstein's heirs. According to a statement from Democrats on the House Oversight Committee, this package of documents includes telephone call logs, copies of flight records and passenger lists, accounting books, and Epstein's daily schedule. The federal government has entered its second day of a shutdown, after lawmakers failed to reach an agreement on a temporary spending bill before the October 1st deadline. The shutdown began at 12:01 a.m. yesterday, idling many federal workers and forcing those in essential roles to work without immediate pay. The political deadlock in Washington shows few signs of breaking, with leaders from both parties placing blame squarely on their opponents. In a rare appearance in the White House briefing room, Vice President J.D. Vance accused Democrats of forcing the shutdown by moving far to the left on policy demands. On the other side of the aisle, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer took to the Senate floor to argue that Republicans are responsible, stating they can't be bothered to protect health care for American families. While the leadership remains at an impasse, some rank-and-file senators have reportedly begun discussions on a potential compromise. However, no clear path to reopening the government has emerged, leaving millions of Americans and federal employees in a state of uncertainty. The immediate effects of this political gridlock are already becoming apparent. In one of the first major consequences announced, the federal government has frozen approximately $18 billion in funding for two critical infrastructure projects in New York City. The Office of Management and Budget Director, Russ Vought, announced on the social media platform X that the funds were being put on hold. He stated the move was to ensure that funding is not flowing based on what he termed unconstitutional DEI principles. The U.S. Department of Transportation later confirmed the freeze, publishing a message that the project's funding was now under administrative review to determine whether any unconstitutional practices are occurring. The two projects affected are central to the New York metropolitan area's transit system, the long-awaited 2nd Avenue subway extension in Manhattan, and the construction of a new Hudson Tunnel. The Hudson Tunnel is a key component of the broader Gateway program, designed to repair and replace the century-old, deteriorating rail tunnel that is a single point of failure for the entire Northeast Corridor, serving hundreds of thousands of commuters daily. A significant delay to these projects could have cascading economic effects and further complicate travel for millions in the region for years to come. While funding battles play out in Washington, the administration is also taking direct action on the ground to address civil unrest. President Donald Trump announced yesterday that the National Guard is now in place in Portland, Oregon. Following a request from the Department of War, the Oregon Military Department confirmed that 200 service members have been mobilized under Title X federal authority. Their stated mission is straightforward: to protect federal facilities and the federal employees working in them. The deployment follows months of protests against federal immigration enforcement, which have been centered around an ICE facility in the city. These demonstrations have at times led to violent clashes between protesters and federal agents, as well as vandalism. In a post on Truth Social, President Trump said that conditions in the city continue to deteriorate into lawless mayhem, and that federal law enforcement has been unable to enforce federal laws. He stated the National Guard is there to restore law and order and end the chaos, death, and destruction. In a memo to the mobilized service members, Brigadier General Alan R. Gronwald acknowledged the complex nature of the mission, writing, "I know some of you may have strong feelings about this mission. That's okay." He reminded them of their oath to support and defend the Constitution and follow orders. An oath that he said doesn't come with an asterisk that says, "Only when I agree with the mission." He also cautioned troops to be smart on social media and avoid political arguments. However, Portland's mayor, Keith Wilson, has fired back at the administration's characterization of his city. He claimed the president would not find lawlessness in Portland and alleged that video footage showing violence was recycled from 5 years ago. The focus on immigration enforcement in Portland is part of a wider administration agenda which is now being pushed at the highest levels of the judicial system. The Trump administration has formally asked the Supreme Court to weigh in on the constitutionality of its executive order aimed at restricting birthright citizenship. The government's new petition in the case of Trump versus Barbara was docketed by the court on September 29th, following a similar petition filed just days earlier in a related case, Trump versus the state of Washington. At the heart of the legal challenge is President Trump's Executive Order 14160. The order argues that the 14th Amendment, which grants citizenship to persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, has never been interpreted to extend citizenship universally to everyone born within the country. Specifically, the order seeks to deny automatic citizenship to a child born in the U.S. if the mother was unlawfully present in the country and the father was not a U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident at the time of birth. This move challenges over a century of legal precedent, largely established by the 1898 Supreme Court case, United States versus Wong Kim Ark, which has long been interpreted as granting citizenship to nearly all individuals born on U.S. soil. A definitive ruling from the Supreme Court on this matter would have profound and lasting implications for immigration law and American society. And turning now from domestic policy to the international stage, the White House has unveiled a major new initiative aimed at resolving one of the world's most protracted conflicts. President Trump has proposed a 20-point peace plan designed to finally conclude the nearly 2-year war in the Gaza Strip. According to the White House, the plan has been accepted by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The framework would secure the return of the 46 hostages still held by Hamas, require the complete disarmament of the militant group, and formally end Israel's military operation in the territory. The plan also outlines a path for the reconstruction of the devastated Gaza Strip. This effort would be managed by a new Palestinian governing body, which would be overseen by an international coalition headed by President Trump himself. While Israel's acceptance marks a significant step, the crucial next phase depends on securing an agreement from Hamas, which has not yet responded to the proposal. The political stakes are incredibly high, particularly within Israel. Analysts suggest that while the plan offers a potential end to the devastating war, its terms could fracture Prime Minister Netanyahu's right-wing ruling coalition, potentially bringing an end to his long and controversial career as Israel's leader.